Hello and welcome to the Aussie Football Passport, your one-stop pod for updates on your favourite Aussie men and women who are playing their club careers abroad. I'm your host, Alex, and this week I will take you through the men and women getting minutes, influencing their club seasons, whether they are winding down and chasing silverware or they are in the middle of their season. This week, there's been silverware for some of our ladies, relegation playoffs for some of our men, and transfers abroad for some of our Aussie-based players. So there's plenty to cover this week. Let's get into the news headlines. The Arsenal ladies have done the unthinkable and they've gone and won the Women's Champions League against Barcelona with a 1-0 win. In that one, we had vested interests, of course, with three Matildas players in that Arsenal squad. Steph Catley playing the full game, Caitlin Ford getting 85 minutes, and Kyra Cooney-Cross on the bench. So well done to Arsenal ladies. Their first Champions League victory, well, winning the whole thing, of course, since 2007, I should say. So that is fantastic news. Well done to the ladies. Speaking of London and European conquerors, well, Ange's Tottenham Hotspur, they've won the Europa League, beating Manchester United 1-0. So that is incredible. The first Australian men's coach to win a European trophy. Absolutely incredible. And I'm sure there will be a lot of English pundits who will be eating some humble pie this week. Congratulations, Ange. Now to Northern America, and Portland Thorns clinched third place at the CONCACAF Champions Cup with a 3-0 win over Club America. Caitlin Torpey started and played the full game at right back in that one, so congratulations to Caitlin. Mackenzie Arnold's still out with that lower leg injury, so hopefully she will be back soon. Now, flicking back over to the men, and another international tug of war is apparently beginning, with Nectar Triantis apparently called up to both the Australian and Greek men's squads. This is according to Malky Mackay, the sporting director at Hibs. So it will be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Nectar did pull out of the men's the Socceroos squad. So whether it is that he will join up with the Greek national squad remains to be seen. We will keep you posted on that one. Now, sticking with the men and some news out of the west of Australia, Jaylan Pearman, he's off to QPR to join his good mate Daniel Benny there, and they will be playing in the English Championship next season. So that is off the back of a great season, or back half of the season, I should say, for Perth Glory, and also some wonderful performances at the Under-20s Asian Cup. So well done, Jaylan. We look forward to covering you playing next season for QPR. Staying in England, Caleb Watts has joined Plymouth Argyle from Exeter City, and that is in League One in England. So that should be an interesting move for Caleb. Now to national team selections. Tony Vidmar, he's selected a 23-man squad for the upcoming June international window. This is for the under-23 men's team, and that is in preparation for the Asian Cup qualifiers. The squad is predominantly made up of A-League-based players. However, there are a couple of notable overseas-based players in that squad. They include Giuseppe Bovalina. He plays for Vancouver Whitecaps in the MLS. Garen Quoll, the forgotten man, really, after that transfer from the Central Coast Mariners to Newcastle United, where he is currently playing. Unfortunately, not playing for the first team, however, he's playing for their reserve team. Ariaf Piol from Real Salt Lake in the MLS, and of course Mo Toure from Randers in the Danish League. So the lads will play the South Korean under-23s in a 2-match series, the first game of which is on Thursday the 5th of June, and the second is Monday the 9th of June local time. So check your local guides for that one. All right, so that's the news headlines for this week. Next will be the weekly wrap. All right, right, let's start with the ladies. And in the US and Alana Kennedy played a full game for Angel City FC. However, they went down 3-2 to Racing Louisville in that one. So commiserations to Alana there. Morgan Aquino, the recently returned Matilda, she got a full game for DC Power in a 2-0 loss to Tampa Bay Sun. So not very successful for our ladies in the NWSL there. Going north of the border to Canada, and Carly Johnson, another recent call-up to the Matildas squad that will be playing next week. She got a full game for Calgary Wild in a 1-1 draw with Vancouver Rise. And I think I've forgotten your name, Carly Johnson, that was there in Canada. Now, heading to Sweden, Jada Wyman, she got a full game in a 4-0 loss to Jerdingen on Monday. Sorry for the pronunciation. So that was Monday last week, local time. She then backed up on the weekend and played another full game between the sticks for AEK in their 2-0 win over Vaxjo DFF. So that is her fourth clean sheet of the season, and she is firming favourite for the gloves for the Matildas, you would imagine, given these performances. Staying in Sweden, Amy Sayer got 71 minutes and a goal for Kristianstad in a 2-0 win over Hammarby, high-flying Hammarby, who are near the top of the ladder there in Sweden. Her compatriot, Remy Simonson, she got 17 minutes off the bench in that one. Avi Lewick, the forgotten lady of the Matildas, she got 32 minutes for BK Häcken in their 1-0 win over Rosengard. So good to see Avi still doing well over there in Sweden. Similar minutes for Polly Doran. She got 30, in fact, for Linköping in their 2-1 loss to Pitaya there. So that is the ladies' wrap-up for the week. For the men, let's go back to the US&A, where midweek they had the US Open Cup, and there were plenty of Aussies involved in this. Jake Girdwood-Reich, he continues to start in central midfield for St. Louis. He got 65 minutes in their narrow 3-2 loss to Minnesota United there. He then backed it up with an 80-minute performance in the league, MLS, of course, on the weekend. And unfortunately, the losing streak continued. They went down 1-0 to the Colorado Rapids. Now, Kai Rolls, he had a busy week for DC United. He played the full 120 minutes, of course, extra time there in that cup tie. It was a 3-3 draw for DC United with Charlotte. However, DC United won on penalties, so correcting that luck that Jake Girdwood-Reich faced there. So then at the weekend, he went the full game in the MLS as DC United went down 2-0 to New York Red Bulls. Now, Patrick Gazbeck, he had an outstanding game for Nashville SC in their 3-2 Open Cup win over Orlando City in the midweek game, and he did play the full 90 minutes, I should say, and provided an assist, which is great to see for Patrick. He then backed it up for Nashville, playing 85 minutes in their MLS weekend fixture. It was a 2-1 win over Toronto FC. So great stuff for Patrick as he continues to really cement his spot in that Nashville side. All right, Ariaf Piol, he got 20 minutes off the bench for Real Salt Lake in their unfortunate 3-2 loss to Vancouver Whitecaps, rather. He did register a shot and looked lively in that cameo off the bench, so that's great to see. Aidan O'Neill, he played another full game for New York City FC on Monday as they beat Chicago 3-1 in the MLS. Now to Scotland, where the promotion relegation playoff pitted a couple of Socceroos against one another. And they were in the form of Ryan McGowan, who started in defence and played the full 90 minutes in that 1-1 draw with Ross County. Tete Yangi, he got a brief appearance off the bench for Livingston, 9 minutes in total. In opposition, Joshua Nisbet, he played the full game for Ross County in midfield. And it should be noted, the second leg will be played on the morning we release this episode. So stay tuned for next week's edition to find out how this one plays out in the Socceroos playoff derby. Okay, let's head to Switzerland, where Nestor Irankunde came off the bench and played 15 minutes for Grasshopper in their 2-0 win over St. Gallen. That is great to see Nestor continuing to get minutes. Grasshopper, unfortunately, not quite out of the woods. They now face a playoff to continue to be in the Swiss top division. They play Aarau in midweek. Now, let's head over to Austria, and Jed Drew, he got 14 minutes off the bench for Hartberg in their 1-0 win over Austria Klagenfurt. Jacob Italiano, also in Austria, he started and played 64 minutes for Grazer AK in a 1-1 draw with WSG Tyrrell there. So good to see our boys in Austria doing well. Anthony Kalik, he got 45 minutes for Sibenek in their 1-0 loss to Hajduk Split in Croatia. Let's head to Japan. And Thomas Deng, he got a full game for Yokohama F. Marinos in a 3-1 win over Kashima Antlers. And of course, they are coached by Patrick Kisnorbo, another Aussie doing their thing abroad. So great to see for our Aussie lads in that one. And the winning theme continued for Jason Guerrier. He got a full game for his side, Albrecht Niigata, and they beat Shonan Bellmar 2-1 in the J-League. Mitchell Duke, he made an instant impact for his side, Makeda Zelvia, coming off the bench for 29 minutes and scoring in a 2-2 draw against Fuji Okayama. All right, to England, and Massimo Luongo got 3 minutes in Ipswich's last game in the English Premier League before their relegation back to the Championship. They went down to West Ham 3-1, I believe. It should be noted that Luongo is now a free agent after his contract ended with Ipswich. So it will be interesting to see where Mass ends up. You'd imagine he will probably end up back in the A-League, but let's see how that one plays out. All right, let's head over to Denmark, where Paul Itzo was between the sticks for Randers in a tough 3-2 loss to Midtjylland. He made 6 saves, but it wasn't enough to prevent the loss, unfortunately. In further good news, well, I guess good news for our Aussies, but not so good for Randers itself. But Mo Toure, he featured in that match and got 59 minutes playing up front in that one. Now, let's head over to Italy, and the return to form for Alessandro Circati continues. He played a full game in Parma's 3-2 win against 3-2 win against Atalanta, I should say. What a massive way to end the season, and it is absolutely outstanding to see Alessandro back fighting fit just in time for this June international window, where we will no doubt need him desperately to keep out the Saudis and the Japanese in these Asian World Cup qualifiers, I should say. All right, so that is it for the weekly wrap. Shortly, we will have our players of the week. All right, time for our players of the week, and it is pretty hard to go past one of our Arsenal ladies. We've gone with Caitlin Ford, who contributed fantastically, of course. Unfortunately, didn't get the goal for Arsenal in that 1-0 victory over Barcelona. But Goal.com rated her performance an 8 out of 10, noting, of course, her defensive work, which is quite rare, of course, for a winger, isn't it, these days? But also her productivity getting forward and, of course, harrying the Barcelona players as they attempted to play out from the back in their traditional style. So well done, Caitlin. Props to you, and hopefully you're not too hungover for this June international window, but we will forgive you if you are. As for the men, Fran Karacic, it's pretty hard to go past him this week. He's got a goal in NK Lokomotiva's 3-0 win over Gorica in the Croatian League. He played the full game, and the goal was the third in the 3-0 win. It came in the 89th minute, and it was a cross that actually ended up in the net. So it was, it's a goal. They all count, but, it might not be the prettiest. But well done to Fran. He's had a fantastic season for NK Lokomotiva. He's played 34 games in total for them, and no doubt will be in the thoughts of Tony Popovic once he settles on his squad. Of course, the squad that he did call up recently was a train-on squad and didn't involve players that were still playing for their club sides because, of course, they were playing for their club sides. Well, that's it for another week of the Aussie Football Passport. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on the pod. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Prime podcasts. As for our social media, we are on Facebook, X, and Instagram. As always, thank you very much for listening, and I will catch you next week for the next installment of the Aussie Football Passport. All right, goodbye for now.